Hi everyone, my name is Sam and I'm an art therapist. Um, Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that I'm living on, which is Yugambeh land, and pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I am an art therapist. And when I tell people that, I often receive a handful of similar responses. The first being, oh, what does that mean? And my usual response, the easiest and quickest response is, it's like talk therapy, but using art supplies. Of course, that's a super simple explanation of what art therapy is, and it's far more than that. And it differs from an art class because you have a trained therapist who knows how to use art supplies and help you explore whatever you are coming to therapy with by using those art supplies. And then the next most common question I receive is, oh, I can't do art, or I don't have a creative bone in my body, or I can't even draw a stick figure, or something along those lines. And as you can see here on the screen, one of my art processes was literally using a stick figure. So you don't have to be good at art to do art therapy. You don't have to be able to draw. You don't have to identify as being creative in order to gain benefit from art therapy. In fact, sometimes being an artist can hinder doing art therapy because you're trained to do things a certain way. And in art therapy, there's kind of no rules. You could use crayons to build a fort if you wanted to, rather than actually draw with them. There's no right or wrong way to do art in art therapy. You just go with how it feels, you go with the flow, because it's not about producing an end product. It's about the process of making the art. And in the process of making art, it is the hope that you might learn something new or discover some insights, or at the very least, just get those emotions out of your body and express them. So if you're one of those people who say you can't draw, then good. The aim of art therapy isn't necessarily to produce some glorious piece of art you want to put on display. The art produced in art therapy is often incredibly personal and saturated with meaning. In fact, most of the time, the art you produce is something better kept close to your heart and not put out there on display. Not all art therapy is the same. There are countless art processes out there, and each one is different, and each one will give you a different experience. And just like all talk therapists aren't going to be right for you, not all art processes or art therapists are going to be right for you. And sometimes you have to shop around in order to find the best way for you to be able to express yourself. Because for me, that's what art therapy really is. It's about having the space and tools to express yourself unapologetically. And with that, as Pat Allen writes about in her book, art then becomes a way of knowing. So you express yourself. That expression is witnessed by another in a safe container. And then you look at the art and you interact with the art and perhaps dialogue with the art. And by doing so, you will come to know something. In the knowing of something new or being reminded of something you already know but might have forgotten, you're empowered to make change, which is ultimately the goal of any therapy. You don't go to therapy because you want everything to stay the same. You go because something needs to change in your life. And by expressing yourself with art processes and then communing with the art, you can gain some knowledge and can create the change you are seeking. And because the most important part of any therapy is that therapeutic relationship, it's really important that you do find a therapist that works best for you. It's okay to shop around. It's okay to go to one session and then say, you know what, I need to find someone else, or no, this didn't work for me. It's completely okay. And so now I'd like to invite you to join me as I guide you on a really simple process to give you a taste of what art therapy can be like. So what you need is a piece of paper, any kind of paper. It could be lined, blank is probably better. but it doesn't really matter. Any size, any shape, just something to make marks on. And then, of course, something to make marks with. So it could be a ballpoint pen, a graphite pencil, a colored pencil, oil pastels, crayons, whatever it is that you have at hand is enough. So let's get into it. So I'm going to use a blank piece of paper and a ballpoint pen. And now I would invite you, if you feel safe to do so, to put your marker on the paper and close your eyes. And when I say go, move whatever your mark maker is over the page in whatever way feels good to you. It could be hard and jagged, or soft and flowy, or scribbly. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You can keep the mark maker on the paper the whole time, or lift it up, move it somewhere else on the page, whatever it is that feels good to you. And we'll do this for about 30 seconds. Ready? And go. And stop. Now I'd invite you to look at your marks and see what you notice. Are there shapes all in the one half of the paper with a lot of blank space somewhere else, like mine? I've done pretty good, like I've kind of framed it and it's all stuck in the middle. Are the marks jagged, smooth? Do you feel anything when you look at it? Are you noticing any internal thoughts? Is it trying to tell you that this is stupid? Or this is silly? Or what even is this? And as you look at it, can you make out any shapes? Do you see any diamonds? Or maybe circles? Squares? Spirals? Maybe you can see a flower, a face, a balloon, a heartbeat. Maybe you're going to see something like a crooked tree or a broken aeroplane. I can see the letter S here. And turn the paper around and have a look to see what it looks like in a different direction. Maybe you see something else. Like, I kind of feel like I can make out like a, what do you call it? A sand hourglass, that's it. Kind of like an hourglass here. I'll turn it in another direction. I don't really see it, but this one kind of feels like a big wave. Whoosh, crashing at the beach. Turn it the other way. I'm not really getting anything at all from this one. You could even hold it up at arm's length and move it away from you to see if you can see it differently. If you did see anything, now I would invite you to define that thing. Maybe add more colours if you have more colours, or just outline what you see more strongly, adding in some shading here or there, or filling in patterns. Or maybe you just want to doodle and spend some time doodling. I actually like the idea of the hourglass, so I think I might kind of define that a bit more. I'm going to keep the curved shapes. I'm liking that. And I like that it goes around at the bottom too. So as you can see, you can add lines where there aren't lines. I'm going to make the sand falling down. And once you've done that, whether you're doodling, adding colour, just colouring in the different shapes, or if you've actually found something and you're defining it more, then give yourself a pat on the back, because guess what? You were just creative. You created something. And notice how you felt while you were doing it. Were you calm and content? Were you agitated and critical? There's no right or wrong answer, and you don't have to share your answers. This is just information. You might get something out of the information, and you might not, and either way, that's okay. And if you don't get anything out of this, you might look back at it in a week, a month, a year, and all of a sudden, you might notice something that you didn't notice before, or you might realize what it meant. I'm just going to keep adding and doodling and adding. I wanted to do this before, so I'm going to do that. And I'm just following my gut, following what wants to happen. And as you create something, you can think about what it might mean for you. For me in particular, I realized the time glass, the hourglass, is kind of like how I feel at the moment with my placement, because time is ticking away and I still have a few clients to see and a few hours to do, and I'm a little worried about running out of time. And I guess that's what this is kind of trying to tell me, and maybe it's telling me that it's okay, I've got time. See, all of this, there's only been a little bit of time falling down to the bottom, but I still have all of this time up here to go. And so maybe it's telling me I'll still make it. I'll still end up completing my placement, and all will be well. And so if you're getting a lot of messages or insights, you could write them down in a journal to capture it. Sometimes things that seem completely irrelevant actually turn out to be useful, so try not to disregard anything that arises during this time. And feel free to come back and do this again and again and again, as many times as you like. And sometimes you can look back and you might notice something new pops up. Again, there's that letter S that I'm going to put in. S for Sam, right? I have no idea. Maybe it's not S for Sam. Maybe it's S for something else. Or maybe it's not an S at all. Look, there's another S here too. Feeling the S's. Maybe it could be SOS and it's a cry for help. I don't know. I do like the S's though. They feel good to just draw. And sometimes that's all art therapy is. It's just doing something because it feels good to draw it. Ha! Sam Stars. Perhaps Sam Stars has enough time to do what needs to be done. So I'd love to hear from you if you feel called. Let me know if you enjoyed or absolutely hated this process, or something in between. I love hearing about people's experiences, so it's probably a good thing that I'm an art therapist. I'll leave it here, And I hope you did get something out of it, even if that something was the knowledge that you have no more interest in art therapy. Maybe, just maybe though, you got some kind of insight or some food for thought or a desire to actually try out some art therapy with an art therapist. Feel free to leave me a comment or come visit me on Facebook, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.